goal is to have
Single?
younger
No.
people. I'm on. Welcome to the
That was on TV.
Georgetown Finance Advisory Committee meeting of excuse me, I'm pushing that, huh? April 5th, 2017. In attendance, Wayne Snow, Ed Doby, Matt Newhall, Sheila Ruth, and we have Mike Farrell, Town Administrator. And in the audience, Gary Fowler, who is the whole audience. What we're going to do tonight, first order of business, is we're going to take a vote on the proposed fiscal year 2018 budget.
Okay, I'll stop. Article 2 of the May 1st town meeting warrant. General operating budget and reserve fund, ATM 17-2, for a total amount of $29,299,775.
Second.
Any,
No, second.
no, any second?
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Well, if I can, I had to make one
Okay.
adjustment from our last meeting. When there were some problems with the spreadsheet, and some of the cells weren't adding up. So, in order to balance the budget, I decreased the property and liability insurance from 300,000 to 287,000, decrease of $13,000, and that now puts us in the black by $4,279.
Okay.
And we really need to leave a little bit of the levy. If you recall, the assessor was in here, and when he sets a tax rate, he has to round it. And that's hopefully enough for rounding purposes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Anything from the floor? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 4-0. I'll keep,
I was writing it down here.
well, I'll keep track of it too.
4 yes. 0 no. Okay. Article 3, Water Department operating budget. Recommendation on ATM 17-3 for $1,566,200 to come from the Water Department Enterprise Fund, and $1,023,800 to come from retained earnings for the Water Department.
Got a motion?
That was the motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Vote? Gary, anything? Vote? All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? 4-0.
Okay. Hold on here, This is Article 4, the Fire Department Ambulance Operating Budget. I make a motion to recommend ATM 17-4 for $347,549 from the Ambulance Enterprise Fund and $85,000 from the retained earnings for the operation of the Fire Department ambulance.
Second.
Discussion?
No.
Vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0.
Okay. Article 5, Local Access Program. Make a motion to recommend ATM 17-11 for the following amount of $60,000 for salaries and $40,000 for expenses from the PEG Access Cable Related Fund.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, the consent calendar is the next thing to begin. Article 6, Municipal Light Department, continuation of operation. I might make a motion to recommend ATM 17-5.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay. Article 7, Chapter 90 reimbursement and transportation bond. I will make a motion to recommend our ATM 17-8 for the amount of $303,800 for the Chapter 90 reimbursement.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No. Unanimous.
Okay, Article 8 is the revolving fund. According to Mike, there's been some changes. They've kind of put all the money in one category here, and it's as written in the warrant. So it's Article 8. I vote to recommend the revolving fund.
Oh, there's one change. Under the Conservation Commission, Camp Dennison,
Yep.
that new limit is 60,000.
Okay.
That hasn't been finally approved by the Conservation Commission.
So across the 25 off and change it to 60?
Yes.
Where is that? Okay, got it. Okay.
That had to do with their, all their, improvements that they were doing over there, right?
That's correct.
If I
Mhm.
remember correctly, yeah.
Let me start again. Article 8, the revolving fund, ATM 17-14, as written in the warrant, with the exception of the change in the Conservation Commission, Camp Dennison would be changed from 25 as printed here to $60,000.
Second.
Discussion? Questions?
This was a change under the Municipal Modernization Act. As you see, there's only 2 articles that are now in the consent calendar. It used to be 6 or 7. But the new act that we're adopting by approving this warrant article, we just approve them all in one vote now.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? Passes unanimously.
Okay. Article 9, Fire Department Hot Safety Community Initiative. 8, I make a motion to recommend ATM 17-13. This was submitted by the fire chief in regards to automatic external refrigerators.
Second.
That's it.
Discussion?
Do you need a figure?
Well, the chief is asking for, we would have a figure in the motion. This, depending upon the selectmen's vote on Monday night, my guess is it would probably be passed over because there's no funds to fund it.
Should we pass over it now?
You might as well, yeah.
Okay.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, that, all in favor of passing over?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we're down to the Community Preservation Committee, and I'll defer to our chairman.
Okay, Article 10, Community Preservation Committee, make a motion to pass ATM 17-12. It's to appropriate pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 43B, for Community Preservation Fund, a sum of money to meet the administrative expense and all other necessary and proper expenses of the CPC for fiscal year 2018. With the reservations, 52,000, which is less than 10% of estimated fiscal year revenues for open space, including land for recreational use, and 52,000, which is less than 10% of estimated fiscal year revenues for historic resources.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if that's a misprint, but it's greater than 10%.
Oh, it is greater than 10%,
Yeah.
excuse me. The carrot's in the other direction. It's a minimum of $52,000 is what it is. Excuse me, strike that, 52,000 or greater 10% of the estimated fiscal year for open space land use for recreational use, 52,000 or more, 10% for fiscal year revenues for historic resources, and 52,000 or greater than 10% of the estimated fiscal year revenues for community housing. That is standard every year. CPC is required to hold each 52,000 for each of those uses as a reserve every single year. So before we do anything, we have to hold that 52,000. So I'll make a motion that we pass this ATM 17-12.
Second.
Discussion. Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Further appropriations, 21,000, less 5% of fiscal year revenues to meet administrative expenses for the CPC for fiscal year. $132,000 from open space and $268,000 from the undesignated account for the account of $400,000 for debt service, principal, interest payments, and all other costs associated with bond notes and instruments incurred by the CP fund relating to articles previously appropriated at the annual town meeting in 2013. That's we managed to put together $400,000 to help pay the bond for the athletic fields, and that's where that money is coming from. B, Community Preservation Housing Category Affordable Housing Trust Grant. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Laws 44B to appropriate $60,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Community Housing Reserve Account as a grant to the Georgetown Affordable Housing Trust for the purposes of affordable housing initiatives consistent with the Trust's Articles of Incorporation and the accepted Town of Georgetown Affordable Housing Production Plan, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into grant agreements with the Georgetown Housing Trust, Affordable Housing Trust, setting the terms for such grant, including a requirement that the owners of any dwelling subsequently receiving any of these appropriated monies from the trust grant to the town an affordable housing restriction in said dwellings, and further to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept such restrictions or take any other action thereto. C, Community Preservation Community Housing Category Housing Authority Swingate.
Chair,
I think
Yeah.
you
should
do one
have
at
a
a
vote
time.
on each one.
Okay, I thought we
On B- on
because
B.
they didn't have a separate number.
No, we vote
Okay.
on B.
B.
Okay, we're gonna vote on B.
Vote
Yeah,
on all.
you second B.
I'll second B. We can't just do one
No,
that covers all of
you
them.
gotta vote on each one.
Each one.
Do we vote on A? Or
Yeah,
the
we did.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
Okay,
A. All right, I can
okay.
see it.
So B, Community Housing Affordable Housing Trust Grant.
Second.
Discussion? Vote? All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. C, Community Preservation Community Housing Category Housing Authority Swingate. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law 44B to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Community Housing Reserve Account the amount of $8,000 to the Housing Authority for the costs related to the installation of a swing gate to provide emergency access to Trestle Way Housing Authority complex, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen and the Housing Authority to enter into all agreements and execute any and all instruments for any grants to defer the costs associated with this initiative. Any funds from this appropriation remaining unspent after a period of 3 years from the date of approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund only after a vote by the Community Preservation Committee determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action in relation thereto. Discussion?
Matt?
Second.
Yeah.
Discussion? Take a vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, 4-0.
Yes.
Article D, Community Preservation Historical Resources category, Historic Gravestones Preservation at Union Cemetery. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law 44B to appropriate from the Community Preservation Historic Reserve Account the amount of $20,000 for the restoration and conservation of gravestones and monuments at Union Cemetery, requiring the most necessary conservation as determined by the Georgetown Historical Commission. Any funds from this appropriation remaining unspent after 3 years from the date of approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund only after a vote by the Community Preservation Committee determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action related thereto. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article E, Community Preservation Historic Resources category, Historic Schoolhouse Number 2. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law 44B to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Reserve Account the amount of $20,000 for the replacement of the roof and the interior and exterior restoration of the only remaining schoolhouse in Georgetown, including all incidental and related costs. Any funds from this appropriation remaining unspent after a period of 3 years from the date of approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund only after a vote by the Community Preservation Committee determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action related thereto. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Is this the red schoolhouse down by the Brockle Bank?
I think so, yes.
Yes. Oh. I moved that thing down there. I remember that. Yeah, no problem.
Did you cause the roof issue?
Probably did.
Hear a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Article F, Community Preservation Historical Resources category, Historic Brockle Bank Museum Preservation. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Laws 44B to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund $12,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Reserve Account to make exterior repairs, scrape, prime, and paint the historic Samuel Brockle Bank Museum located at 108 East Main Street, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a grant agreement with the Georgetown Historical Society setting the terms for such a grant, including a requirement that the Georgetown Historical Society grant to the town as a historic preservation restriction, and further to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept such a restriction, and further any funds from this appropriation remaining unspent after a period of 3 years from the date of the approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund after only a vote by the Community Preservation Committee determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action relation thereto. Do I hear second?
Second.
Discussion? Take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mike, are your friends coming back to do this? Painted this building?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. They do a nice job.
Sure do.
Okay. Article G, Community Preservation Open Space Category, West Street Fields Preservation and Restoration. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law 44B to transfer the remaining balances from two previously appropriated Community Preservation Act open space category accounts. Article 31F of the annual town meeting of 5/5/14, CP 106. Article 24G of the annual town meeting 5/4/15, CP 113, for a total of $11,226.09, and to utilize the funding for the restorations of the fields at West Street Fields. Any funds from the appropriation remaining unspent after a period of 3 years from the date of the approval, this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund after only a vote by the Community Preservation Committee, determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action in relation thereto.
Second.
Discussion?
I've none.
Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Article G is unanimous.
The bathrooms.
Article H, Community Preservation Open Space Land Category, Camp Dennison Bathroom, or Bathroom. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law 44B to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated account $5,000 to complete the rehabilitation of an existing bathroom at Camp Dennison. Any funds from this appropriation remaining unspent after a period of 3 years from the date of approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund only after a vote by the Community Preservation Committee, determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effect or take any other action in relation thereto. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Surprising there's not a zero missing from there. It's only 5,000.
There's a reason for that.
It's very
They've-
rustic.
Well, we should have done that discussion.
Oh, no, I was just making a comment.
They've been very good about spending, how they spend their money, and they're approaching the time when they'll be pretty much self-sufficient. So this was just kind of to get them to finish at the end.
Article 11, I believe we'll pass over that one. That will be, it doesn't require a recommendation from us because it doesn't involve any money.
Okay. Passovers, those were my favorite holidays.
All right.
Okay, so we move to the,
Special town meeting.
yep,
What do they do with a special one? Oh, here it is. Okay, I can take you through the special one. Article 1 is the adjustments we don't believe to be any. Article 2 is the street snow and ice deficit, and we don't have a number on that, so we'll have to address those the night of the meeting. Article 3 is the Affordable House Trust Planning Department payroll adjustment for special town meeting 17-3 to put back into the housing trust the sum of $9,191. Yeah.
Second.
discussion? Vote, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? SMT 17-03 passes unanimously.
I don't have any more.
That's it.
So we will have to meet, we will be needed before town meeting on the 1st. We don't have any more meetings till then.
Shouldn't need any.
Town meeting's at 7 o'clock?
It is.
We usually meet at 6.
Post a meeting for 6.
And it'll be, they don't call it the teacher's lounge anymore, what do they call it now?
Guidance office.
That's at the high school?
That's
Yes. Yeah,
it's the second,
There'll be
third
signs
there on
up.
the left.
all right,
And it's a Monday?
Yes,
Monday.
Okay, good.
May 1.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor, oh, discussion?
Should we use that door or?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
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 This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, I appreciate it.